Assalamu alaikum, dear participants. Today we are going to talk about courage. Courage is an enviable trait. It is also elusive because mustering courage requires courage. Instances which call for courage abound. Courage is needed not only to speak the truth, but also to support the weak who speak the truth. Courage is also required to point out the faults of our loved ones whose anger we fear. Courage is also needed to admit one's own faults. Without courage, we cannot say no to questions we have no answer to. And without courage, we cannot ask questions we are afraid to ask and which may open up new knowledge frontiers for us. Facing the trials of life also requires courage. Forgiving others also needs courage. To never give up in the face of adversity also requires a captain courageous. Saying no to commitments we very well know we will not be able to honor also needs courage. Refraining from venting anger on the weak, this also calls for loads of courage. And finally, most feats of physical courage spring from the moral courage within us. So if courage is so elusive and the instances to exercise it are so plentiful, how can we then acquire this enviable trait? So some measures which I would like to suggest here might be useful. The first is that the opposite of courage is fear. And if we want to be courageous, we need to conquer our fears. Perhaps the best way of conquering our fears is to fear God alone and make other fears subservient to this fear. If the love of God and the love of the cause of God take root in us, if the love of the truth is more than the love of any other thing, and if we ourselves try to be honest and morally upright, this will hopefully instill courage in us. The second thing that I would like to suggest here is that we should also look for people in our society who are courageous. If possible, we should befriend such individuals and seek their company. It is a common experience that a person gets inspired by remaining near such people. Every now and then, even in our own society and surroundings, we do get to know of such people. It is only a question of remaining on the lookout for such individuals. The third measure or the third suggestion that I'd like to make here is that we should also try to gather anecdotes of people of the past which reflect courage. One receives motivation from these tales. We know that there were people in the past who stood up to the truth and never gave up even when faced with repeated adversity. They wrote tales of courage from the way they led their lives. People like Malik ibn Anas, ibn Taymiyyah, people like Ahmed bin Hanbal, Shah Waliullah, Galileo, Socrates, they were nothing but courage personified. They adhered diligently to the views they held correct, and no amount of persecution could waver them from their stance. So it is hoped that with these three suggestions, we are able to acquire more courage in our lives.